Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu sallam wa baraka ala abdi wa rasulihi nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. So what do you guys notice about the cover of this book? What's the first thing that comes to your head or your mind?
Kung Fu.
Chinese.
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu, huh? Anybody else? What's the first thing you think about when you see the cover? Graffiti. Art. Anybody else? Urban. A hood. Inner city. Right? Anybody else? What's the first thing you guys who may be watching? What's the first thing that comes to your mind or your head when you see this cover? What's the first thing you think about?
Discipline.
Discipline. Is that it? Anybody else? Martial arts? Anybody else? Chinese, someone else says? Anybody else?
She said black and white.
Black and white? Okay, alright. Anything else? Alright, what's the first thing you think about when you hear the word disciple?
Student.
Student. Learning. Okay. Anybody else? What's the first thing you think about when you hear the word disciple? Huh? Jesus. Okay. Keep it real. Let's keep what? Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Alright, Jesus. The disciples of? Jesus. The Last Suppers, the Apostles, John, so on and so forth. Alright, tell you. Anybody else? And nothing else? That's it? Alright, inshallah. So what are those, based off of you guys' answers, what are those connections or parallels? Obviously the book is supposed to be written on Islam by a Muslim. So how does Jesus, Kung Fu, graffiti, the hood, discipline, how does that translate into Islam? You guys understand the issue here?
All of these are disciplines.
These are all disciplines.
Yeah. Kung Fu, calligraphy. You know.
Hood calligraphy.
Hood got rules.
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed. All right. Tell you, graffiti, tagging, there are rules. There's kawaii to it.
That's right.
And it's a hood calligraphy. All right. Tell you. I like that. We're gonna coin that one.
That's right.
I'm a calligrapher.
Calligraphy.
Tell you. All right. This is important. This is important stuff. All right. Tell you. Anybody else?
Muslim is in every avenue or...
A Muslim doesn't just live in one place, one environment, one scenario, right? A warrior isn't just on the battlefield. A warrior just isn't a man. A warrior just isn't a person who carries a rifle or a sword. A warrior isn't a warrior what it means to be a warrior. To go to work every day, to pay the bills, to take care of your kids, to do what you gotta do, right? A tough guy, a thug, isn't just how you dress or you got tattoos or whatever they are. A real thug, someone who's roughing it out. Single parent mother. She's a warrior. She's fighting every day, making ends meet, taking care of her family, so on and so forth, right? All right. Survival. What's meant to be a warrior? Right? All right. I'll tell you, anything else? That's it?
Dedication too.
Dedication. You gotta be devoted to Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Or or how did he even get up there on that bridge? You ever see some graffiti? You ever ask yourself the question? How did he get up there without getting caught, without falling? How long did it take him to do that? How many cans of spray paint was used? Right? Yeah. Everyone understand this? Some people, graffiti artists in their old age, they've lost the movement of their arms. For their whole life, spraying. So the ligaments in the arms went dead. You imagine that? You got corporal tunnel syndrome, people who type, no, I can't even move my arm no more because that's how many cans I done sprayed. That takes what? Dedication, devotion. If you get caught, if the wind blow the wrong way, somebody snitch, somebody rat you out, right? People don't even recognize your art form because it's vandalism or because it's such and such. But this person with this silver spoon in this museum eats like this is an artist. Oh, he's a painter. 3.5 million for this painting. But your stuff is just as unique, just as talented, but it's, a pigeon, a rat in the middle of the streets. Right? Versus the hawk and the falcon, the eagle that soars in the air. And a pigeon is no more of an inferior bird. It has to live, it has to survive, it has so many dangerous things in the street, right? Think about the mentality, right? Sight versus perception. Right, been anything else? This is something, these things have plagued the Muslims for a very, very long time. And there are many atrocities, many wars, all types of torments, things you can't even think about happen to the Muslims because of that pride and prejudice. Anybody else? All right. What do these things have to do with us? The way the hadith disciple, seeking knowledge, what we talk about, what we teach, what we call to. What parallels do we have, Zayd?
Like with your cover?
Yeah.
I was thinking
and those concepts that you got, the tafsir of the cover.
Yeah. I was thinking how East Asian culture, they have a high level of discipline.
Eastern Asian culture is known, is infamous for its obsession with discipline, with order, with perfection, respect for elders, so on and so on and so forth. How does that translate to what we're talking about?
I felt like you try to incorporate that into pursuit of knowledge.
The student knowledge has to be disciplined. You got to be serious. You got to take it seriously. All right, Tayyib, anybody else?
That it shows that it's distinct or unique from
It's
others.
different. You're not going to find other books that talk about seeking knowledge in English or Arabic, which is going to have this type of artwork. And it's meant to be unique. It's meant to be distinct. It's meant to stand out, but at the same time, it's no fancy, flashy colors. Black and white. Right? It says a lot, but at the same time, what? Doesn't say a lot. It's not too loud. And that has an effect with regards to your dawah. All right? Anybody else?
What is the meaning of the writing?
What's the meaning of the writing? Mahmoud G. Character for disciple. Simplified Chinese. If my memory serves me correctly. Anybody else? There's a story behind the cover, how I got it made. I was in Seattle. He was talking about the story with Muneer, right? Mm-hmm. Right? When we went to go visit him. If he's watching, shout out. Right? Myra. Shout out, huh? If he's watching. I was in Seattle in a place called Pikes Place Market. And I saw an old Asian man, and I walked up to him and asked him where he was from. He was a calligrapher. He was, people pay money for him to write things. So I said, I want you to write me the word disciple. He said, no problem. And he drew it up for me, put it on like a scroll type of piece of paper, and gave it to me, and I paid him. And from that time, I took it, I digitalized it, made it, whatever, turned it, and there we go. All right, tight. Anything else?
The style is simple. It says a lot.
Simple, but complex. All right. These are some things to think about. Maybe we'll come back to that. Can I get a volunteer to read the contents, please? The table of contents, anybody? Volunteer, any band, Father?
Intention, purpose,
Intention and purpose.
aspiration and drive,
Aspiration and drive.
fire dragons,
Fire dragons. What the heck is a fire dragon? What are you talking about? King Arthur? What's a fire breathing dragon? What is that? The
the Titanic
ايش
struggle,
هذا؟ ايش فيك انت؟ فاير دراجون. نحن في الخيالات ولا شو في فاير دراجون. طيب, we didn't mention anything yet about عقيدة واسطية, الورقات, بيقونية, مدينة, مكة, القرى, مصر وتيمين. just ايش هذا الكلام؟ تفضل.
the Titanic struggle,
The Titanic, the movie The Titanic? Huh? Jack and Rose, what are their names? What's wrong with you, man? What are you talking about? طيب.
worth, will, and readiness,
Worth, will, and readiness. We still didn't mention any books. What books should you read to be a student of knowledge? Who should you study with? What madhab should you follow? What qira'ah should you have? Warsh, Hafs, Fulan, what is that? Fadal.
parasites and bloodsuckers,
Parasites and bloodsuckers. Are we talking about flies, leeches, maggots, insects? A parasite, huh? Ringworm, tapeworm, worms inside of salmon, right? What's your farm-raised salmon? What is this? Fadl? Wear and gear. We still didn't talk about no books yet. Ornaments. We're talking about chandeliers.
Christmas tree.
Hey, well, ornament. Yeah, I know you had that. Fadl? Footwear. Stuff to wear on your feet. We're selling shoes now.
Your teacher?
You're a teacher, okay? Maybe a little Islamic now. Do's and don'ts with your teacher. Obviously, the student of knowledge, let alone the disciple, you are to show your teacher the utmost respect, as we explained in 40 Hadith, Seeking Knowledge, Volume 2, no matter who your teacher is.
Real teachers?
Real teachers. Obviously, if they're real teachers, then it has to be fake teachers.
Yeah.
Right? If I say this is the real McCoy, this is the real deal, then that means that there are people out there who are not unreal. So how can a teacher be a fake teacher? How's that? Further.
Your books?
Your books. Not books. Not the books. But whose books?
Your books.
Your books.
Memory and memorization?
Memory and memorization. That sounds a little better, right, Zay? To the traditional Orthodox way. Hifz, huh?
Traveling and touring?
Traveling and touring. Leaving your home.
How to properly sit in a circle of knowledge?
How to properly sit in a circle of knowledge. Something so simple, so basic, but as we speak, we're violating it. As we speak about sitting in a circle, we're doing what? We're violating the way of the disciple. Right? Tayyib. Seeking a field of expertise. Not being a jack of all trades, master of none. Taking on an apprentice. All right, so we're talking about the student of knowledge, the way of the disciple, according to our school of thought, our falsafa and tasawwuf, right? Tasawwufuna, our mysticism now. So in the book, don't you find it a little odd that we're teaching you about taking on a student as you're being a what?
Student.
A student. That's a little strange now, even for me, the author. You're learning how to be a learner, correct? Learning how to be a serious seeker of ilm, but yet and still we place the chapter on you taking on another learner under your wing. Kayf Hada. Obviously, if you're reading this book, you haven't left the nest yet. And at the same time, we're telling you how to deal with the little birdies and feed them. Kayf. Who can make sense out of that? What's the wisdom behind that? Taking on a disciple at the same time you are a disciple. How does that make sense?
Like
Convey whatever you learn. Okay, that's general.
A teacher will always be a student. always
teacher
be
will
learning.
always be a student. From what we believe, you can never ever encompass everything, but there's something else as well, deeper than that.
Being a role model.
Being a role model, something deeper than that too.
You are what you eat.
You are what you eat. Some more things.
Remembering that the eventually you have to teach. So going.
Eventually, you have to teach. That has to be something that's instilled from day one. You're not meant to drink breast milk forever. You're not meant to eat baby food what?
Forever.
Forever. You're not meant to sit in a high chair forever. You're not meant to be spoon-fed what? Forever. And as you raise your children, you teach them how to do what? Things on their own. In the middle of them being children. They're not grown yet, but you raise them with the intention of pushing them away. So we have three principles. We have embrace. We have, don't write anything down, Zaid. I don't give you permission. I'm not a judge to care. We have embrace. We have shun. And then we have discard. Embracing, steering away from it, getting away from it, and eventually what? Getting rid of it. You guys with me or not?
Yeah.
Embracing, learning it, sponging it up, eating, learning, mimicking your teacher, taking everything your teacher gives you. Now ask no questions. Don't question why, what's the proof? Learn. And as you learn and as you benefit, gradually, progressively, you have to do what from your teacher? Gotta shy away from him. And then when you're strong enough, you do what? With the high chair and the baby food. Has to be discarded. We on the same page or not? And that is something that has to be distilled or instilled what? Not distilled, huh?
Instilled.
Yeah, not distilled.
We
Hold on.
We wanted to keep it strong.
So that's something that has to be instilled what?
That's right.
From when?
From early.
Early on. And that pertains to the previous or the chapter with regards to real teachers. A real teacher being someone who feeds a baby or someone who raises a young man and a young woman. Fadl. Images of the original manuscript. That the book was written by hand, then made into or placed into typesetting. And that is symbolic to something. All right, tight. So, has everyone understood the content so far, yes or no?
Yes.
Everybody? Everybody?
Yes.
All right, explain to me what a fire dragon is.
Fire dragon
Fadl.
is some of the insecurities that come.
Insecurities.
Insecurities in a person.
Weaknesses that you have within yourself.
That you have to fight them.
Why are they called dragons and why do they breathe fire?
Because it's symbolic
Two.
to what we're growing up and used to.
What does a dragon represent?
Scary.
Scary.
Destruction.
Lashek. Destructive.
Massive.
Huge. Big. Powerful. Right? All right. What else about the fire-breathing dragon? Mystical. Okay. What else?
Consume.
The more that you feed it, the more it feeds the what?
Bigger it
The
gets.
bigger and stronger it becomes. And the less of a chance you have to slay it. What else?
It's from inside.
It's from within inside. In most cases, the fire dragon is locked, what? Up in the castle, pent up. Correct? All right, what else?
It has to be slain.
It has to be slain. It has to be slain. You have to go right after you have to get rid of that doff, that all right? That weakness stopping you from learning and memorizing. I'm good, but I'm scared. I'm good, but then they'll say you think you're better than everybody else. I have the potential, but maybe I can do this on the side, except fire dragons, right? Insecurities, weaknesses, doubting yourself, no self-esteem, no confidence, right? Play it. Anybody else? What's a parasite in a bloodsucker? What's a parasite in a bloodsucker?
Those are distractions.
Distractions. Just distractions?
Attachments.
Attachments. Okay, interesting word now. Distractions, attachments, anything else?
Bad habits.
Bad habits. But what is the nature of a parasite or a bloodsucker? It does what?
It feeds off.
It sucks your blood. It's taking your energy.
Yeah.
It's taking your focus, and at the same time, it's passing on diseases and illnesses. So not only is it a distraction, that's at best. This thing is sucking your vital energy 24 hours out of the day. This thing is taking 2 hours, 8 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours of a limited tight schedule already. Right? What do you do with parasites and bloodsuckers? Do you live with them? What do? You allow the flies into your house to land on this and then land on your food. What do? You have to get rid of them. You have to protect the thing. Okay? You can't take it lightly. There would be no fine establishment of fine dining in which there are flies. It's a 5-star restaurant, Michelin star, right? Chef. And they have what? Flies in the kitchen. Mustahil. Impossible. It just can't exist. There's no way this fresh, clean food can exist with
Fly.
let alone maggots. The meat isn't fresh. The vegetables aren't fresh. Something's wrong, right? Okay, all right. Real teachers. What's meant by a real teacher? Anybody?
Teacher
Someone
can
that pushes you.
inspire and motivate.
A teacher is to inspire. He's to give you energy, push you. You see him, you feel like doing the right thing, being better, right? Versus you just listening to the teacher, everything your teacher says and everything your teacher does. Anything else? Supposed to educate you,
Put you on a path.
put you on the path. What was a fake teacher then?
The opposite.
Self-centered teacher.
Self-centered, egotistic, or egotistical. And that's very common. Many people, by teaching Islam or other than Islam, doing it too, they just want to make themselves feel better and bigger and stronger. By showing that you're inferior, worship me, put me on a pedestal, kiss my ring, kiss my feet. I'm your teacher. Yes, that feels good. Say it again. Sheikh, call me master. Right? You have to follow me for 20 years before I give you ijazah. You have to humiliate yourself and beg for the ijazah like a dog in the street. Then I just took. Somewhere. This happens. And don't think that teachers and scholars aren't human beings. They have fire dragons, what? Themselves that haven't been slain. What else is the description of a fake teacher?
Unsincere.
They lack sincerity. A teacher who claims to know everything. I have the answer to everything. There's no one else above me. There's no one better than me. Only sit with me. Only learn with us. This country is the only country that knows Quran. This country is the only country that has the correct aqidah. The fuqaha and muhaddithin only in this university, not in that university. They're not real teachers. Anyone who claims monopoly on ilm has already what? Red X. He's disqualified himself from being a real teacher, according to us. Others may say differently. That's not the way of the disciple. That's not our way. We don't believe one university, one race, one people have احتكروا العلم. They have a monopoly on knowledge. لا أبدا. All right. Anything else from a fake teacher versus a real teacher? What's another description of a real teacher?
real or
لا
not?
يا شيخ أنت ممنوع من المشاركة معلش.
ما في يا شيخ.
خلاص الشيخ أيوب على وشك المنع كذلك.
I'm just taking it back.
يكاد يمنع خلاص.
خلاص ماشي لا
I'm
حرج.
taking it back, Shaykhana.
Anybody else? What's a real teacher versus a fake teacher?
A fake teacher wants you to be like him and not
A
progress.
carbon copy. Mimic me, imitate me 100%. Versus you be yourself. ولا طريقتك ولا هيئتك ولا يعني شكلتك ما دمت تلتزم بالقواعد الضرورية. هذا الفورم الذي لا يجوز الخروج عنه. أما الفورمنس الذي يجوز فيه الاجتهاد اختلاف النظر. You wear this style, wear style. Not only is that allowed, but that should be welcomed. And I remember when I was in Medina, when I was in the College of Hadith, very weird, strange thing. And that is they have a graduation party before you graduate. The kharij, what you get gifts, they take you out, you eat before you even graduate. How does that make sense? كيف يقرأ هذا؟ التخرج ما دمت you still got tests, you still have exams. كيف هذا? How does that make sense? Huh? كيف؟ عباقرة.
Yeah, they are like guaranteed graduate. They do it in Iraq.
يعني ايش نسبة احتمال الخسارة والرسوب؟ وانت في السنة الأخيرة في الفصل الأخير يعني what's the percentage? What's the chances of you failing and you finished 3.5 years already with good grades? What's the chances of you?
It's not very. It's not.
نسبة ضئيلة.
Yeah.
طيب اوكي فهذا قد يبرر فعلهم هذا. All right. Anybody else? How does that make sense? How do you have a graduation party before you graduate?
Put you in a winner's mindset.
Put you in a winner's mindset. I like about it. Failure isn't a what? An option. You gotta graduate because you got this. They gave you this. They give you now. How you gonna fail now? It's impossible for you to fail a class. That's a good point. Good point. Fayed, both of you guys, good points. Anybody else? How does that make sense? Further.
Shows them the rewards.
Shows them the rewards before. This is a taste. This is what you can expect. Some of what you can expect upon completion. Very good answer. Anybody else? Further. Get you ready for the test. An incentive. What human being doesn't like free things? What human being? What did he say? I'd be lying if I told you I didn't win $1 million. I'll be what? I'll be lying to you. Say I don't want to be rich. Right, anybody else? All right, so therefore, at the graduation party that they have, they would specifically encourage all of the students in the class to wear their traditional clothing. Throughout the 4 years, you wear the Saudi shmal, the ghatra, etc., the white thobe. We want you to dress like how you want to dress in Bosnia, how you want to dress in Zimbabwe, or Morocco, or Madagascar, how you want to dress in Tajikistan, or Uzbekistan, or Kyrgyzstan. We want you to wear the clothes that you wear in Jamaica. If you wear a thobe, you happen to wear that, no problem. But we want you to dress like you dress in Kyrgyzstan or this place or that place. You have to dress like Ahlul Balad. What is that? What are they trying to show you there? Uniqueness.
Be authentic.
Be authentic. Keep it real and diversity. So someone who wants you to be exactly like that 100% in every single aspect is not a good sign.
Be in a mindset to get what you learned in a unique.
It's not a uniform. There's no specific uniform. Someone with a 3-piece suit could be broke. And someone could have on, sweatpants and a hoodie could be what?
Sharp.
Rich. Great businessman. Everyone understand this? That's food for thought. All right, tight. All right. Hey, inshallah. So, before we ask you guys any other questions, or what chapters would you guys like to discuss or read? Anybody have any suggestions or requests? Father. Fire dragons. What you say, Zayd?
17.
17. Seeking the field of expertise. Right. All right. So let's start off. Anybody else? Father?
Titanic struggle.
The Titanic struggle. All right. Let's start off with the fire dragons. Page 10, chapter 4. We have our reader. And before we read Fire Dragons, it says here on page 6, know for sure. Right, let's stick with the Fire Dragons. Malish. Right, Fadal. Who's our reader? Who's going to read for us? Anybody? Abu Maysa, Fadal.
Number 4, fire dragons. Self-doubt, poor confidence, lack of self-esteem, and fear of unprecedented greatness. Leaving your friends and the norm of nothingness in average life to the new and high plateau of ilm. Often our insecurities are our worst adversaries. Never be afraid of excelling and living out what was predestined for you.
All right, Jazakallah khairan.
Oh, yeah.
Self-doubt, poor confidence, lack of self-esteem, and fear of unprecedented greatness. You have the talent to go to the NBA. And not just to go, be drafted, but you can be a star. But no one from my block or my hood or my city or my race or my country has been to the NBA. So how can that be? What are they going to say about me? I'm scared of being great. What do you mean you're the man? What do you mean you are the... How can that be? I'm leading a salat, 5,000 people are behind me saying Ameen. That's not a small, simple thing. You understand? That's a big, big responsibility. You're the center of attraction in the whole entire lecture hall, masjid. Everyone's looking at your every single movements. Whether you have that intention or not, that brings you power and greatness and status. La shak fi dhalik. I'm afraid of that. I'm scared of that. I don't want to have the wrong intention. I don't want to have riyah. I don't want to feel like the people that I'm doing it for money or to be famous, etc., 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 etc. That is a trick of shaitan. And that is a fire-breathing dragon which will consume you. Leaving your friends in the norm of nothingness. You go to the NBA, your homies, they knew you from day one, the sandlot, they played basketball with you. First thing they're going to say about you, you ain't keep it real. First thing they're going to say about you, oh, you forgot about us. Oh, you think you better than us now. Oh, you got money, so you don't need us anymore. Right? Dang, you know what? Yeah, I got to keep it real. Let me stay where I'm at. Let me not go. Let me not go overseas. Oh, you think you're Arab now? You forgot your culture. You forgot your race. You forgot who you are. And have you forgotten that you're Persian? Have you forgotten that you're African? Have you forgotten that you're this? You're not an Arab. Don't think that you're an Arab. Look how you dressed. Look how you talk. Look how you eat. You eat like them. Right? People are going to say these types of things. And no one wants those bad things said about them. No one wants people to say about them you're a show-off. Or you think that you know everything. So the shaitan, he has many different forms and shapes that he comes and attacks you with. إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَ انتبه الآن. Allah said about shaitan, him, huwa wa qabiluhu, his people, his line, they see you from means in which you what? You can't see them. So in theory, the shaitan, in theory we said, in theory, linafrit, he has an advantage over you. So, the deck of cards is loaded. The stack is right, in theory. But Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Inna ibadi laysa sultanun. Finish the ayah? وكفى بربك وكيلا. شفت الربط بين أول الآية وآخر الآية؟ فضلا يعني الله عز وجل he says يعني
فاستفزز من استطاع بصوتك وأجلب عليهم بقوتك وشريك.
You understand? Allah said at the end of all of that, Shaitan's promise, and that surah, let alone لا تخذن من عبادك نصيبا مفروضا. Shaitan made a promise to Allah to mislead them, to trick them, to get them to procrastinate. I will whisper things to them. I will attack them. Allah says, my ibad, you have no real power over them. So in reality, it isn't an unfair fight. Every weapon that the shaitan has, you have his counter. The shaitan sees you. The shaitan is in the unseen world, but you have. So the fire dragon, you cannot give in to it. And don't think that the shaitan isn't going to attack you just because you're trying to seek knowledge. And this is one of the most important chapters of the book. And we've seen so many victims of fire dragons. It then says, often our insecurities are our worst adversaries. How are you going to seek knowledge? How are you going to go overseas and you're a woman? You're a sister. You're not supposed to learn. Are you going to have more knowledge than your husband? Why do you need to seek knowledge? Your job is to have children and take care of the household, be a housewife. You know, that's a waste of time, you learning and memorizing and studying. Women aren't good for knowledge. Has this not been said? Is this not said? Are there cultures that prevent women from learning? Or am I making this up? Possible or not, guys?
Yes, there are.
And that, so therefore the woman, the sister, she wants to study, she wants to learn, she has the talent, she has the ability, but she ends up what? Becoming a victim of that fire dragon. It consumes her. And every time she goes higher, but then what's the point? I can't give a khutbah, I can't speak in front of men, I can't do this, the men, why even go further? That's a trick of what? In your own soul, your own nafs has tricked you. That's a fire dragon. Never be afraid of excelling and living out what was predestined for you. You're doing nothing but fulfilling your destiny. It was meant to be. Before you were thought of, before you were... You guys with me?
No.
Your own indulgences can be a fire dragon as well. Something that ruins you from the inside and not from the outside. All right. Seeking a field of expertise. Fadl Zayd. Page 38, chapter 17.
An absolute necessity if one wishes to establish a respectable center for learning and research. In these later times of ours, however, it is difficult, something of a rarity, because knowledge has become so scarce and rare, especially in Western countries. One often finds himself at a need to act as a superstore, a Walmart, a one-stop shop for everything, without a main specialty. Instead, become a general acceptable standard, fulfilling the needs of all Islamic sciences. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, nor a vice. That is not what is intended. There isn't anything wrong with a student of knowledge being well-balanced, well-rounded in the traditional sciences, having read a few basics, having taken a series of intermediate courses in most fields, and participated in several intensive workshops. That's fine. Often, that is what's needed, and sometimes one has no second option. A gratitude may be in a location and or a time. A graduate may be in a location and or a time in which he must play every role and manage each lot. But this can only be temporary. Nothing but a mandatory bandage on a wound that requires immediate attention and medical care.
Okay, so I think we're going to stop down for the adhan, inshallah. And right after we're finished, bidnillah ta'ala.
ممكن نستعين
تفضل بسم الله. قد أعرتك.
جزاك الله خير.
الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي
جزاك الله خير. جزاك الله شكرا. طيب, Bismillah. So, seeking a field of expertise, and as you can see, this is from, not the, but from the last of the chapters. In other words, you're not supposed to seek a field of expertise until you have established a firm foundation, firm basis, in which you've covered all of the sciences, you've studied all of the different introductory sciences, auxiliary sciences, you've taken a good, large, healthy portion of all of the main sciences, the ghayat. Then once you are well-rounded and you're strong in all of the checked boxes, then it's a good thing, and sometimes it's a necessary thing for you to spend 85%, 75%, 90% of your time, your money, your energy, and your focus on just one field. Now, the basis for this chapter, as I said, the connection between the way of the disciple in volume 1 and 2 is the hadith of Anas, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, collected by Imam Tirmidhi and others. أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر وأصدقهم حياء عثمان إلى آخر الحديث. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says the most merciful of my nation to my nation is Abu Bakr. The toughest and the roughest of my nation when it comes to Allah's laws and commands is Umar. The shyest from among them is Uthman. Right? He who's best at qada. He who has the most knowledge of rules of inheritance. أقضاهم علي أفردهم زيد أعلمهم بالحلال والحرام معاذ بن جبل أقرأهم أبي بن كعب وهكذا. So that hadith among other hadiths proves the recommendation of takhasus. And that Umar radiallahu anhu was harsh, but at the same time he was very merciful. Abu Bakr's was soft. إنه رجل أسيف. Right? Some of the women, they told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he says, Muru Abu Bakr and Salli bin Nas, let Abu Bakr be the Imam. I'm sick, I'm ill, I'm sitting down, I'm lying down. And obviously it was Aisha and Hafsa, Inna kunnaka sawahibat Yusuf. They were whispering back and forth, you tell him, you tell him, you tell him, you tell him. And the Messenger of Allah said something, even when he was ill, very ill, he still was mentally what? He's sharp. He knew that they were playing games. And he knew that they were trying to get someone else to lead the salah. Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer. And they said, oh Messenger of Allah, when Abu Bakr leads the salah, مَتَى مَا يَكُنْ مَقَامِكَ لَا يُسْمِعُ النَّاسَ مِنَ الْبُكَاءِ. He's such a soft, tender-hearted man that whenever he stands, whenever he's the imam, no one can hear him recite because he's crying the whole time. He's crying so much, he can't even people can't hear him. So Abu Bakr was soft and tender, but when it came down to the apostates, when it came down to fighting, when it came down to establishing the laws and the rules, what did Abu Bakr do? He fought them. When Umar says, كيف تقاتل الناس? How can you fight the people? So Umar's strength doesn't mean he had no softness, and Abu Bakr's softness doesn't mean he didn't have strength. But like I said in the khutbah, the outstanding, remarkable feature of that Sahabi was kaza. You understand this? So just because you study hadith doesn't mean that you're weak in fiqh or Quran, and that's the lie that the people will sell you. If you go to the hadith, you'll be da'if in usul, you won't understand usul, you won't be able to teach in America, you just know haddathana, akhbarana, Bukhari. As one brother said, he left Kuwait to hadith to go to Kuwait to dawah. And he said his justification was, he says, I can't teach my Catholic grandmother the manhaj of Bukhari in his Sahih. That's what he said. He said, I can't teach my Christian grandmother Bukhari's methodology of his book. Yeah, who said just because you study inside of Bukhari, you don't know Tawheed and Aqeedah of Islam? You can't debunk the Trinity? You can't debunk the Trinity and you study inside of Bukhari? The mushkila fiqh, man. Fiqh anta. You understand? لا الكلية. You get the point I'm trying to make? فالتخصص لا يعني الضعف. لا يعني الهزال في العلوم الأخرى. وإنما معنى أن أكبر, the strongest of your strengths is in this science. هذا الشيء. شيء ثاني. Another thing is There are some people who are very talented, and Allah blesses them to have more than one field of expertise. There are many scholars like that that are living in the past. Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah ta'ala, whenever he spoke on an issue, if he spoke about mantiq, if he spoke about kalam, if he spoke about hadith, if he spoke about fiqh, if he spoke about the Hanabila, the people would say, إِنَّ هَذَا الرَّجُلُ لَا يُحْسِنُ غَيْرَ هَذَا. This is the only thing that he knows. It's impossible for him to be that strong in another science. But when he spoke about his other things, what happened? What happened? You guys get the point? So what's meant by seeking the field of expertise doesn't mean that you ignore the other sciences. It doesn't mean that you're weak in everything else, but this is your passion. This is why I like to be. Everybody on the same page?
No.
All right. Secondly, we mentioned in the book here is that because knowledge is so scarce, knowledge is so rare that sometimes you have to be a jack of all trades. You don't have time to just focus on one thing. I have no time to learn another qira'ah. I learn hafs, that's it. There's no other time. I don't have enough time to master the other qira'at because I have to study this, that. Because when I go back to my country, when I go back to my masjid, I have to be well-rounded. When you go back to your country, your masjid, there's the faqih. There is the hadith guy. So you can just focus on qira'at. Because you don't have to give them classes. You don't have to answer people's questions. You don't have to deal with drug addiction and domestic abuse. They have a counselor for that. At my masjid, we don't. You get the point? So from the virtue of seeking a field of expertise is that it allows you to build a dynasty and an empire. You have strengths and the people work together. But sometimes there aren't those other fields and you yourself have to wear different hats. And wearing a different hat isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's only a temporary thing. You can't go forward by you doing everything because energy is limited, time is limited, money is limited, and the needs of the people Shu'aib are endless. We understand? So that's what we mean by that. All right, moving forward. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. How do you seek a field of expertise? How do you determine what you should focus on? Who knows the answer? What college is for you? What qira'ah is for you? What madhab is for you? How do you pick it?
Try it out first.
Try it out first. All right, good answer. And when you try something out, you only what? Sample. You don't buy the whole thing, a sample or pack. You try it out first. All right, that's good. What else? How do you determine what field is best for you to focus in, Muhammad?
Whatever attracts you.
Whatever attracts you, natural attraction and gravitational pull, right? Where's Hamza? Whatever attracts you, that's very good. Anybody else? How do you seek a field of expertise? What career is good for you? What career is best for you?
Based on the needs of the people.
What you're naturally good at. Use your natural strength, your natural chi, quote unquote. It's already there. Why not harvest it, push it further? Try it out. You mentioned Abraham. Anybody else?
Recognizing your chi, like you're saying.
Recognizing it. You got to know what your chi is actually. All right? Many people don't what? They don't know. They don't have a clue. What else, Afi?
Talking to people in that field.
Speaking to those who've already been there and back. Excellent point. No one who makes istikhara asks Allah for guidance, and no one who makes istishara asks the people for the shura will ever regret. I asked Allah, and I sought the counsel of the experienced, wise people. Even if it didn't work out in your favor, you'll never ever regret, because I did everything that I could. Right? Anybody else? Anything else? How else do you see the field of expertise? Zayd?
You see what you're strong at, what you incline most to.
Similar. It's something else though. You look towards what's a need of your people. What the people need the most. We have 10 of these already. We don't need another person doing the same thing. We need somebody else now. What else is there? Anybody else? All right, page 41, it says, the path to mastery of a specific field of expertise and particular art form is to first select one. The guidelines, so first and foremost, you can't be dipping and dabbling over and over again. You only dibble and dabble a few times, and then after that you have to Pick one. You gotta stick to one, and you gotta try it out. For the medicine to work, you have to take it consistently. It didn't work, so I gave up and I took another pill. No, we need to take it for 7 days straight to see is your body good. Is it good for your body? Your desires, your capability, availability. And tell me, I said I wanted to study Hanafi madhab, but when I was in this country, there were no Hanafi shuyukh. So I had no choice but to study madhab Malik. Method. It wasn't available. So seeking a field of expertise requires a state of realism. You gotta be realistic with yourself. All right. Then it says needs and necessity. As we mentioned, this is in order of significance from first to last. After asking Allah for divine inspiration, the journey of seeking knowledge, being a disciple, is a spiritual journey. It isn't a material journey. It isn't a worldly. It's a spiritual journey. So in the beginning of your studies, the middle of your studies, the end of your studies, you need to be connected to Allah. You're always attached to your Lord, asking Him for everything. As is our habit in all affairs and matters, investigate your personality and demeanor. Right? What type of guy are you? You're a hardcore type of guy, a soft type of guy, you're a ladies' man, you're a business guy, a sports type of guy, a fighter, a thinker, a debater, a conspiracy theory type of guy, right? Be realistic with yourself. Some people are naturally just, they have a knack for conspiracies. They're good at it. They like it. They don't want to go with the conventional narrative. So it only makes sense for your study should be lacking that. You like money. There's nothing wrong with liking money. Don't we all? Some more than others. You're good at money. You're good at math. You're good at networking. You need to be what? You're a mover and a shaker. You're a people person. You're not supposed to be sitting behind a desk. You're not supposed to be pushing a pencil. You're not supposed to be sitting in a chair. You're a mover and a shaker. You're a tough guy, naturally. Strong. You're a good fighter. People, they look at you, they get scared, they get intimidated. Right? They don't think about doing what you need to be. Well, how can that? It doesn't mean that you can't do what? Other stuff. All right? Moving forward, it says, what type of guy are you, or what type of girl are you? What type of lady are you? What type of gal are you? Right? We didn't leave out the sisters. Okay? It's not just for one gender. What is your nature? What is your nature like? What are your hobbies, pastimes, and interests? What are your natural strengths and weaknesses? Shoaib. What you're naturally good at, and also what you're naturally what? Bad at. You got it? You have to know what your natural weaknesses. What was your favorite subject throughout school? What branch of Islamic studies appeals to you the most? What tastes the sweetest to you, Zayd? You know when you study that hadith, you read this, you read the Quran. It's not the same. A woman, leader, such and such, you being this. Nah. Get that dream out of your head. The people who conquered, the people who did this, the people who won that, if they didn't have any dreams, you don't think they told Jackie Robinson you want to be the first colored baseball player in the major leagues? You don't think he was told that? No question. Don't even go through the heartache. Don't even play yourself. Trust me, they'll never allow a colored person to play baseball with the whites. So from one aspect, the people who discouraged Jackie Robinson, they were right or wrong? They were right or wrong. For one aspect, they were right. Based off of the standards. And from another aspect, those who pushed him, you can do it. If it's anybody can do it, it's you. Dream big. They were right and they were wrong. So it has to be a what? Balance. A balance. You can't be too dreamy, and at the same time, you have to be dreamy. You guys with me or not? Moving forward. Aspirations that are high must be set apart from illusion and drunkenness. Use your mind well. And that statement right there is applicable for anything that you seek. You seek knowledge of the dunya. You want to be a this, you want to be a that. You can't be in an delusional state, let alone drunk and intoxicated. You sleep all day, you're not going to be the brain surgeon that you want to be. You're on your phone all day long. You're not going to go to the NBA being on your phone all day long. It doesn't work like that. You just play basketball when it's fun and convenient. Versus a person who doesn't have an indoor gym. It's freezing cold outside. Have you ever seen someone shovel a basketball court before? You guys seen that before? Anybody?
Yeah.
You've seen it. None of you guys never seen it before? I've seen it on my own. We've done it, rather. And which is snow, and you and your homies go outside with shovels and shovel the basketball court. And it's freezing cold. You take off your gloves and you play basketball. Versus I'll play when the snow goes away. Everyone doesn't have an indoor gym. Everyone doesn't have a gymnasium. Everyone understand this? That's devotion. That's dedication. So the one who says, I'm going to make it to the NBA, and he's outside playing basketball in the freezing cold, that's not a dreamer. The one who's on his phone all day, sleeping all day, eating all day, McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, this and that, 7-Eleven. I'm going to go to the NBA. I'm going to get drafted. He's what? He's drunk. He's in a delusional state. Everybody understand this or not? So you have to be realistic with yourself. Moving forward, what resources are available? Which masters of this art and experts of this field are alive and accessible, etc. You guys got the point or not? And as I said before, this layout, in this language, in this style, I don't think you're going to find it in another book. You may have to find 5 other books, but you're not going to find it like this laid out. All right? So be mindful. Okay, inshallah. Any other chapters you guys wish to discuss before we take any questions? All right. Those who have the book, inshallah, I would advise you to read the book along with volume 1 and 2 to support the hadith. If you find a mistake in the book, please send it to us. If something doesn't make sense to us, please ask us, and we'll explain it to you before we release the explanation of the book. And anything that you feel can be added to the book, please send it to us. And that which touches your heart, if it does, that which pierces your mind, if it does, that which changes your life, that which inspires you, don't feel shy, don't be too stingy or cheap to share it. Because it's a unique work, unprecedented. It's nothing like this in the English language. Written in English for an English-speaking person that deals with this type of complexity and diversity laid out with this type of style, the way of the disciples. So we have the book, inshallah, benefit from it. If you don't have the book, check it out, get yourself a copy. The proof is in the pudding. Don't go for the hype, don't go for the sales pitch. You read the book and you can be the judge of what's inside of the book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best, and with him is all success. Any questions about the book, I'm more than willing to take them, inshallah ta'ala.
What's the diet of the disciple? I don't see any.
Allahu Akbar.
What's the
The
disciple?
diet of the disciple. That's an excellent question. And in reality, that's something that should be added to the second edition. You spoke about footwear, clothes, this and that. The diet of the disciple should be mentioned. I sent it to Zakhma Khair. But what is the diet of the disciple? All right. From one aspect, the disciple doesn't have a diet. We are people who believe you drink green tea, you eat steamed rice, not boiled rice. If you eat fresh fish and fatty salmon and cod, omega this and that, you're going to memorize like Bukhari, you have this raisin, you have this honey, you're going to... That's not real, bro. You got to study. Right? If you're drinking Pepsi and fried chicken and hamburger, but you're studying hard and you're memorizing, you're better off than the one who thinks he's going to take a cup of Jim Matcha and, be like Imam al-Awza'i. Right? So, from one aspect, there's no diet. But from another aspect, there is. You ought to eat healthy. You ought to eat nutritious foods. You're not supposed to eat or drink something that's going to make you have a ball of energy, but then drop you, a sugar rush, a sugar high, a caffeine rush, right? You're not supposed to eat something that's going to make you sleep, something that's greasy, that's going to mess up your stomach, you're going to have indigestion, because taking care of your health is the key to seeking knowledge, as we mentioned in volume 1. The hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, ni'matani maqbulun fihima kathirun min an-nas. The two blessings that most people don't value, and that is health and free time. Trust me, guys. You guys can shake your head. You can act like you're listening. I'm telling you, 95% of you young people in this room, you cannot. It's impossible to value those two things until they're taken away from you. It's a fact. Your liver, your kidney, your spleen. You can't value those organs until they start malfunctioning.
So you mean those big gulps that they get from the QT?
No doubt.
The big gulp, the
No
soda.
doubt. No doubt.
Big one bigger than their heads. They can't drink those.
It's a bit much. It's a bit much. You know, a little fizzy pop every now and then. Like, good. We don't make unlawful what the law made lawful, but come on, you drink that all day, every day. You eat out fast food all day, every day, right? Or you eat too much. You eat too early. You eat too. What happened? All right, and I can say this in Medina. No, all jokes aside, I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal, but I remember brothers, they would sit around and they would debate on what they're going to eat for 10, 15 minutes. Domino's, Pizza Hut, Burger King, Hardee's, shawarma, kebsa, shawaya, Mufti, Yemeni, Bukhari spot, the American spot, the South African steakhouse. Where should we go? What should we eat? How much time do they just waste? Not eating, not burping and belching, not sleeping, or any other bodily functions, right? How much time did they waste just on debating? Taqasam, right? Tanazo, right? They're arguing among themselves, right? Just on what we're going to eat. It's a problem. So the disciple does have a diet at the same time what? The disciple doesn't. Inshallah, we want to add that to the next edition. Excellent question. Is that okay?
Could you explain that excerpt in the beginning? Excerpt.
The excerpt. It says, when they sleep, I read. When they read, I memorize. When they memorize, I make revision. When they make revision, I teach. I am one with knowledge. The art is formless. So this is an original quote. This isn't from someone else. This is a homemade house quote. And it's basically showing you that the disciple is immortal. And the disciple is invincible. Not because who he is or what he looks like or where he comes from, but because the knowledge itself is immortal. And the knowledge itself is invincible. It can never be defeated. And a person doesn't have study time. One of the most common and one of the poorest questions people ask, when is the time to study? How many hours? There's no such thing as study time. There's time to eat. How much time should I sleep? How much time should I play basketball? But the study time is what?
Throughout the day.
There is no such, that is the default, everything else is the exception. Alright, also this excerpt means is that we're having a little bit of يعني معلش نتعصب يعني تعصبا ما شوية ما يدو خفيف يعني ملح في الأكل لازم شيء منه يعني you can't be no true love without some type of what?
Bias.
Some type of bias. No true love without some type of jealousy. So we're basically saying that these other people, ways or styles are inferior. And one of the reasons why they're inferior is that they take vacations. They take breaks. They have coffee breaks. They have to put on makeup before they go in front of the camera. When they're what? When they're sleeping, what am I doing? I'm reading. I'm sacrificing sleep in order to read. All right, now they caught up. They're up. They're awake. They're out of bed. What are they doing? They're what? They're reading. But I'm a step ahead of them because I'm doing what? He's reading and I'm what? I'm making hits. All right, no problem. When they memorize, they're catching up. I'm doing what? I'm reviewing it. When they make revision, what am I doing?
Teach.
I'm paying zakat on it. In other words, they can never what? Can't catch up. So the disciples' mentality is the juggler vein. Killer mentality. Thirst, appetite for destruction. Seek knowledge, benefit, be hungry, be aggressive, take the ilm, and be ahead of your opponent. Even if it's just something that has an effect. And we mentioned the story before about Mike Tyson. When he would do his road work, he would run and he would train early in the morning, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It's cold, it's dark, it's foggy, it's misty. And the interviewer, he asked him, why do you need to do the road work at 3 a.m.? Why can't you do the road work after the sun has risen? What's the difference? Is the air better? You know what Mike Tyson said? He said, the only reason why I'm running at 3 a.m. is because my opponent isn't. Bottom line. He's asleep, I'm running. By the time he wakes up, what am I doing? I'm watching tape. I'm eating spaghetti and steak. I'm weight training. I'm doing this. There's no way he's going to beat me because I'm mentally ahead of him. And Customado, Mike Tyson's sheikh would tell him, and this is a golden rule for all of you guys, whatever you want to do in life, whether it's knowledge, Islam, dunya, deserve success. Deserve success. That was what he instilled in his disciple. You deserve success. You don't expect it. You don't ask for it. You don't beg it. You don't wait for someone to kindly give you success, but you yourself have to deserve it. And whenever he would lose or whatever, he would tell them, obviously when they were sparring before he was professional, he says, you yourself, you lost this because you weren't prepared. You weren't prepared. And he told Mike Tyson as well, he said that discipline is the greatest thing that a warrior can lose. Not his arm, not his leg, not his strength, not a battle, not being captured. But when you lose your discipline, you're done, you're finished. And he would tell him, he said, no one will be able to defeat Mike Tyson except for Mike Tyson himself. And if you look at what happened, that's exactly what? What happened? He was invincible. No one could beat him in the ring, toe-to-toe, nobody. But he got complacent. And he became like this, and this trainer, and this woman, and this purple, and this. Next thing you know, what? So that just be mindful of that edge. That's what's meant by that. The way of the disciple is that what? That sharp edge. You understand, Zayd? Wallahu ta'ala. Any other questions about the book? Further, I think.
It's not a question about the book, but it's a general question. What are some ways we can increase our productivity or
Your productivity?
or overcome procrastination?
Overcoming procrastination is to realize that it's evil. And to realize that the ambassador of procrastination is Iblis himself. He told Adam and Hawa what he would do for them. And how they would live forever. And how. Right? So procrastination is something which is evil and it can never ever be welcomed. Just look at the world today. If I were to give a speech right now and I say something about a race, or if I say something derogatory towards women, or if I say something about this or about that, how many people would jump on me? How many people would force me to make an apology and a clarification? And if I didn't make an apology, they would disassociate themselves. Masjid Salam does not believe in what he said. Why? Even though it's just a small thing, it was just a joke, it was a slip of the tongue. Why do they take it so seriously? Because what? They believe that those things are what?
Bad.
Evil. And no evil is what? Welcome to Allah. You get it? You can't believe the earth is like this. It's not even a period. Not even a freedom of speech. Nope. Because that's detrimental to get the point I'm trying to make. So you have to look at procrastination as a major enemy. The more you look at it as a threatening, deathful enemy, the easier it is to keep your guard. Secondly, you have to take strides. You have to take steps. You have to burn the weakness out of your body. You have to force your nafs to feel the pain of doing it immediately. And it's going to hurt in the beginning, but eventually it's going to taste good. You're going to feel the sweetness of getting stuff done. 24 hours out the day, I did this, I worked out, I had breakfast, I went here, I worked, I had some entertainment, some recreation, versus I'm just in the house all day, just sitting around. I'll do it next week. Inshallah. Oh, mashallah. You didn't get nothing done today. Mashallah. Just look how the shaitan is trapping you. He's going to kill you with two beautiful statements. Inshallah and mashallah. So, that's what you say? ما هما الكلمة ولكن ما شاء الله and inshallah. Inshallah is the procrastination for the future, and mashallah is the lack of taking accountability. Why didn't you clean your room? Mashallah. You got an F. Mashallah. You lost the fight. Mashallah. It was meant to be. You going to win the next fight? Inshallah. You going to graduate? You guys get the point? That's dangerous. So you gotta know the nature of your enemy. Secondly, you gotta feel the pain. No pain, no gain. We're not gonna, keep it, fake. It's gonna hurt. Forcing yourself to do stuff. Beat the laziness out your body, but it's only gonna hurt for a short period of time. And the gratitude, the satisfaction of getting stuff done, you see what you got done. That accomplishment, it feels good. All right? And last but not least is take progressive steps. Make for yourself a daily goal, a weekly goal, a monthly goal. You can't do everything overnight. You can't change everything overnight. Wallahu ta'ala, and we've explained that in detail in many lectures on procrastination. Specifically, our explanation of the book, Awa'ik al-Talib, the pitfalls of the student of knowledge, Sheikh Abdul Budges, and also on our intense course on how to become a serious student of knowledge, which is found on our hadithsabushat.com. It's not a public lecture. Wallahu ta'ala.
Say that again, Shaykhana. I think we missed it. It's found on Hadith what?
Well, we have the videos on Hadith Disciple, the YouTube channel.
Right.
We have the Mufti Q&A, a few other channels I may be featured on, which is free and accessible to everyone. And then we have certain lectures and workshops which are structured and exclusive. And they cannot be found on Hadith Disciple, but they're only found on hadithdiscipleshop.com. Our monthly lectures, our workshops that are exclusive, you can only find them on that website. And we have a course that we have done called How to Become a Serious Student of Knowledge. I would advise anyone who's trying to be something to definitely take that course. I'm not just saying it just because I did it and it's my course. How to Become a Serious Student of Knowledge. Check it out. We gave a whole chapter, a lesson just on procrastination. Wallahu a'lam. Okay, inshallah, we'll stop. Any other questions, guys?
One question. What advice would you give us on how we, as Muslim Americans, conduct ourselves in the real world? So outside of Muslim communities.
Understood.
Whenever we interact with non-Muslims.
Understood. What advice would I give to American Muslims living in the outside world? I think that your question by itself is the answer and more. The question that you ask is the answer. Listen carefully. Muslim, but at the same time, I am American. Whether you like it or not, where you come from, this and that, you can trade in your passport if you want. You ever seen somebody do it? A few people have done it, have kept it real. A few people have denounced what they believe to be wrong about this country and left and migrated. But most people, what? The system is this, it's evil, it's la da da da, but you keep that blue passport and you keep the eagle holding those arrows. The eagle, huh? The sun worshiping what?
3 reasons?
You keep the eagle, right? So, whether we like it or not, we're Americans, but Islam is first. And then the real world, quote unquote, meaning outside of the synthetic bubble. Unfortunately. The masjid, everything is mashallah, alhamdulillah, bismillah, Muslim. Outside is non-Muslims, Muslims who don't pray. It's reality. So the question itself is deep. But if I give you any advice, my first piece of advice is to be a proud Muslim. Hold your head up high. And as a wise man once said, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. I'd rather the people hate me because of what I really am instead of them loving me for something that's fake and phony. And that is why we have the myth of the hero. The movies, the hero, the selfless hero. And we have the evil, vicious, malevolent, malicious villain. That's totally evil. But in reality, if you look at the story, you see that the hero and the villain, they share many things. But they just have different ways of looking at it. You get the point I'm trying to make? So be real. Be who you are. You don't think they know that you're Muslim? You don't think they know? You don't think they can look at you? You don't have on the throw? You don't think they know that you're Muslim? You think you blend in that well? Many people do. They want to hide their Islam. They're scared of their Islam. But those non-Muslims, they can see you and smell you a mile away. You're from such and such country. You're a Muslim. So don't think that you're getting away. So you're not really escaping anything. Be real. I'm a Muslim. Is there something shameful about that? You're Jewish. You're Christian. You're Hindu. What's the problem? Oh, Muslims are terrorists. Okay, bro, really? Let's talk about India. Let's talk about here. Let's talk about Ireland. Let's talk about here. Let's talk about this building that was blown up. Let's talk about domestic terrorism in America. Let's talk about these people that were blown in smithereens in the name of the cross. Let's talk about this massacre, this atrocity. So when you bring facts to the table, you shut the people up. So never be scared or afraid of being a Muslim, period. There is backwards behavior, ignorant behavior, there's incorrect behavior among all races and among people who ascribe to all religions. So why are you scared and afraid of being a Muslim? There's Muslim terrorists, quote unquote, supposedly, and there are what? People who blow people up in the name of Christ, in the name of Buddha, in the name of Krishna, in the name of this, in the name of that. They believe themselves warriors of God for their religion by committing these acts. So you don't gotta be scared. And a real person, even a non-Muslim, he's gonna respect you for that, and he's gonna accept your diversity. And you talk about the history of this country, which many of us are ignorant. It's important to study the history of this country. The fabric of this country is based off of diversity. And it's based off of different cultures, different religions, different races and ethnicities, making the fabric, the woven fabric of what the country is today. So why do you need to shun away from that? In other words, you being a Muslim, you standing up for your religion, you making salah, you being a proud, open Muslim, you're a better American than they are. That's unconstitutional, the bigotry and the biasness. You hiding, you trying to fit in, that's not the American way. So that's my first piece of advice. Secondly is my advice is to realize that the hayat dunya is dangerous. It's a real threat. The moment you let your guard down, the moment you think that you're impregnable or impervious to the claws and the talons of the hayat dunya, its fangs, that's when you become its prey. He who scorns an enemy is surely to be captured by them. He who looks down upon an enemy, he who disdains his enemy, will be a captive very, very soon. They'll capture you. History has taught us that. So living in the real world as a Muslim, you got to understand you can't do everything. And you can't have everything. And you can't benefit from everything. And you have to teach your children. I know it's fun, son. I know everyone else is celebrating Christmas. I know the lights and the trees and ho, 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 and the reindeer. I know it's appealing. It's everywhere you look. The Christmas, I know that. But you can't do everything. Why can't we have Halloween? You get to dress up, you get to have candy, it's fun, it's decent, da da da. Why can't that be normal? You have to teach them that you can't. There's certain things of the hayat dunya you just can't do. And that you getting lost and caught up in a hayat dunya is a reality. So never let your guard down. Piece of advice number 3 is to be the best at whatever you pursue. If you're a doctor, be the best doctor you can be. If you're a basketball player, be the best basketball player you can be. If you're into fashion, be the best fashion person you can be, and blame all of your success on your religion.